We like to talk about films for your consumption. Come take a seat, I'll tell you something. If you like movies, we're the thing for you. You're watching FilmBrew Podcast.
We're your hosts.
I'm Jason Perez.
Brody Mascarenas.
Thank you guys for tuning in to this glorious and special episode of the FilmBrew Podcast.
It's been a while.
Before we get started,
it's been a while.
I want to give a thanks.
It's been a while.
So we have like 2 production assistants on the camera, and they're doing a great job being productive.
They are being productive.
And so, I mean, today's also a special episode because we're going to be talking about a new film. This is the first new film that we've talked about, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. So we saw this film in theaters with our good friend Daniel Morris.
Daniel Morris. Shout out Daniel Morris.
And he drove, and then we ate pizza, and it was a good time.
It was a good time.
But that movie is Batman. Forgot to mention that part.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We should bring up the fact that it's been a while.
It's probably been...
we need to get better on... what's it called? What's the thing called?
But
consistency.
Before we get into that...
Before we get into criticism of our own selves. We can't be called FilmBrew
without the brew.
Jason, introduce that coffee for us.
So this coffee is number 2 of the Sane series, what I'll call the Sane Saga. Sane presents.
Happy birthday, Mr. Sane, by the way.
It's his birthday today, so we're recording on your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Brody's giving us a...
Hey, yo! It's okay.
No, look. Oh my god. Look, so you have to position it so that the thingy, the filter's on this side, right?
Why wasn't it already positioned?
Because that's your job. That's like your only job on this podcast.
Shit.
Anyway.
My bad.
I already got coffee all over the table. There's a couple of coffee stains.
This isn't a new table. This is the same table.
Oh, we have a 3-table streak.
Yeah, 3-table streak.
And I mean, that's pretty impressive to me. But we're talking about the coffee, right? So this is Pete's coffee. This is a dark roast. You know how I love my dark roast, and you know how Birdie loves a dark roast. It's organic.
I did this one on purpose. Keep going.
It's organic, okay? It's called Alma de la Tierra, which in English means love of dirt, right? Smooth,
mud water,
with subtle notes of sweet citrus and chocolate.
Mud water.
Don't say mud water.
It's mud water.
So of course it's Peace Coffee. Coffee number 2 of the coffee that Sane, Mr. Sane, has generously gifted us.
Granted us.
So fresher coffee makes a more flavorful cup. That's why we roast to order and deliver directly to grocery shelves, ensuring we get it faster to you and fresher than anyone else. Organic. It looks great. Who the fuck is Pete?
Shout out to Pete real quick.
Pete, if you're watching this. So, I mean, without further ado, let's dig into this. That's a dark roast. That's a pretty dark roast.
Let me enjoy it.
I just knew this one was gonna be good by the bag. Just look at the bag. It's green.
It's not St. Patrick's yet.
Almost. We should do an episode for St. Patrick's Day. What would we do though?
Irishman? It's a good coffee. It's a good roast.
It's a really good roast. It's very deep and rich.
It's like mud water.
In comparison to the maybe like let's say that dark hole roast we tried on what episode was that? It was a further episode.
Master of None.
Master of None, which was a great roast, but just it's a lighter. And you were having a conversation with me earlier about like fruitier coffees.
Yeah, this is very much a departure from that, which is fine. Because I was just saying how I'm just now getting into the fruitier kind of coffees. I had this Neapolitan coffee, and it's a K-cup, but you know, you'd think a Neapolitan coffee would not taste good, but it was really good. Like it tasted more fruity than anything, and I'm always down for fruity. You know that.
Yo. In case you guys haven't noticed already, I'm officially a dad. I had my own kid. Also, before we started this podcast, if we look a little bit sweaty, it's because we were balling up with rents. So that was pretty fun. We lost the ball over the fence.
Yeah, Jason jumped over to his neighbor's house. So if you know Jason Perez, you're the neighbor of Jason Perez. Jason jumped over to your backyard and then jumped back away. Just letting you guys know, just in case. We gotta serve vengeance. We have to. We have to serve vengeance.
And Brody, speaking of vengeance, you can't be called FilmBrew
without the vengeance. Batman.
That's what we're talking about today. The Batman. If you couldn't already pick up from that, I think this coffee is a very Batman coffee. It
is a very Batman. It tastes like Batman.
Tastes like Batman.
Tastes like Robert Pattinson.
Hey yo, Batman, 2022 film.
Well, let's hype around this talk about Batman before we talk about the Batman.
So
let's talk about Batman. If you don't know who Batman is.
I mean, that's like the point of Batman is you're not supposed to know who Batman is.
You don't know Batman. You don't know who fuck Batman is.
You could be behind him right now.
He's the shadows.
I might be Batman. You might be Batman.
No, you can't come back from that.
Rez might be.
You all know Batman, the character created by Bob Kane. We all know him, the vigilante of the night, the detective of Gotham.
All
know.
Most favorite hero of all time.
Yes.
The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight.
Caped Crusader.
The fruity little boy.
I mean, isn't he just great, dude? Like, okay.
As a character, yeah.
I don't think I can talk about Batman without bringing up my history with Batman, my long history.
I'm gonna enter a photo here. Melanie, if you're watching, I know it's like one of your favorite photos. It's a photo of me as a baby in a Batman costume.
Here's a photo of me at like 7 years old in a Batman costume. But if you look deep into my eyes in that photo, right, you can see something deep within those eyes. You can see someone who's out for vengeance.
You could see someone deep inside.
All right, so it all started with this series of games, the Batman Arkham games, right? Probably, arguably, like the best game franchise of all time. Like, I'm not a big like gamer, but when it comes to like these,
I don't have like a huge selection of games I played as a kid, but those are definitely some games.
And then I
can never beat them. But
we also have a handful of comics if you want to show those off.
Yeah, so these are his. I would have brought my collection. I guess I don't really have a good comic collection per se. I have novels. I prefer like the graphic novel versions because it's. I don't know. I was gonna say cheaper, but it's not. They're more expensive. I just like to.
Equally as enjoyable though.
Yeah, I like to make myself believe that I'm important.
Anyway, so these are relics of my childhood in a sense, because when I was little, it was probably like when I was 7 years old up until like 12, honestly. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Up until like 12 years old. But it was like right before I went to high school. I was brutally obsessed with Batman and like everything Batman, right? And it got to the point where my life got completely consumed by Batman that I started plotting and building my own secret bat suit, because I in my mind I was gonna go out into the city and start beating people up because I was gonna become Batman, right? So I was building this suit.
Some stories are best kept inside.
And it was under my bed for a long time. And then David, shout out to David from the first podcast.
Shout out David. Ever. He was supposed to, not in this one, on an episode we're going to do soon, he'll be on.
He will be on.
Trust me. He's busy with junior year. You got to give him time.
But yeah, so David discovered my Batman suit and I got so enraged with him. That's the Batman.
You're keeping that in.
I'm keeping that in. But I mean,
Batman is a big part of our lives.
I love Batman, dude.
Like, especially the Nolan films, I think Nolan films are some of the biggest parts of my childhood. Again, I never really grew out of them. As I grew out of Iron Man, I grew out of, the fucking Marvel movies I don't really care about anymore. The Dark Knight trilogy, it stayed with me. And even rewatching them for this upcoming film, I was like, damn.
I got really excited rewatching them. Like, I was just, like, some of the most best, like, that's like, it does like huge steps for comic book movies.
Indeed, yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
I think The Dark Knight, though, is where it's at. Personally, for me, I want to ask you, how do you think Batman Begins holds up?
I thought Batman Begins was great, in my opinion. Like, it's one of the best. It's not the best, obviously, but I mean, I enjoyed it a lot.
How did you feel? When was the last time you watched Batman Begins?
Probably like a month ago.
How did you feel about it from an editing perspective?
That
was my biggest takeaway watching it this time around, is that the editing is atrocious in Batman Begins.
I wouldn't say atrocious,
in Batman Begins.
I mean,
And I like Batman Begins. I think Batman Begins is a solid film.
I think it was a great film, but
probably my least favorite.
I mean, probably if you hold it up to, it's.
But this is what I was gonna say. I was like, Batman Begins. I'm sorry, I'm holding this. Batman Begins. When I was rewatching it, I was like, oh, I don't like it as much as I did as a kid. And so I was thinking, oh, maybe Dark Knight, I'm not gonna like it as much. It's gonna be nostalgia. And so then I was a little doubtful about it. Because I used to love Batman Begins. I rewatched it, I was like, I like it. I don't love it. But The Dark Knight, I felt it was gonna be the same way. And I was prepared for that. Dark Knight's fucking incredible. It's such a good movie. Like, in so every element.
I think the reason I enjoyed Batman Begins was just because of the nostalgia. Because as a kid, that was my favorite one. I had huge nostalgia. That was like my favorite.
And I love the ninja style it took with it.
Oh, fuck yeah. I don't know. I just have vivid memories of like going to Walmart and then picking up Dark Knight Rises or like Dark Knight on Blu-ray, and like I'm just so happy carrying it home, and I put it on. Like it's so nerdy and so like stupid, but it's good, the greatest thing.
Like I think like the few superheroes that I care about, like not comics, I still like comics, but like in terms of like films, the Hellboy, Del Toro's Hellboy, and Batman. I think that's it. Daredevil, maybe, if they ever make a good movie, but I don't think Disney is gonna make a Daredevil film.
I don't think so.
I don't think they're gonna do that. If they do, I'm still not gonna, you know.
I don't know. And I really wasn't a big fan of the Justice League films either.
I didn't watch them. I skipped them.
Like I watched like a couple. Or I watched like a little bit.
Batman vs Superman was cool. I saw it in theaters opening night. It was a midnight premiere of it. I watched it. I remember, this is so fucking cool. I have it on Blu-ray. I never watched it again. I don't want to, because I know I'm gonna watch that movie and be like, this movie's not good, and so I'm just not gonna watch it.
I mean, that film is only good because of nostalgia purposes, though. It was like, I'm not gonna lie, Batman and Batman vs Superman was cool. Like, think about it, like, he was pretty badass, you know? Yeah. Like, with all his gadgets, his different gadgets, his combat style.
It was very much, it was the Dark Knight Returns style of Batman in terms of the suits. Yeah. That's about as far as it went, though. It was more of a death of Superman with the whole Doomsday situation. I wish they got a little bit more with that, though. Because, like, the Death of Superman comic was like this... It was a whole novel of just this big fucking fight. And then the film is like 20 minutes. And then Wonder Woman was in there.
Crazy. In the novel, wasn't Alfred there?
Maybe.
Cause I forgot what comic it was.
I haven't read it in
But
a while.
Alfred fucking broke Superman's face. Yes, I'm not joking, right? I'm gonna put it up in editing.
Alfred broke Superman's face?
Okay, so this is basically what happened, right? So Batman was creating this pill, right? And it was like supposed to give you like strength, right? Yeah. And like pretty much make you not pretty much invincible, right? And then so like in Batman and Superman fighting, right? And then Batman's like gets his back broken and shit, and you know he's like wailing on Batman, and then Alfred comes up. He takes the pill because it was like I forgot what comic it was. I read this comic.
All I know is Dark Knight Returns, where he fights Superman. And he has that same. They said that at the Comic-Con before they announced Batman vs Superman, but they said that line in Frank Miller's book, the thing about I want you to remember my face as the one man who beat you. Frank Miller's such a fucking great writer, but that's the only version of Batman vs Superman I know of.
There's tons. There's like so much. Like it's impossible to go through. I mean, that's what's great about Batman, though. So we all have our different perspectives, different comics we've read.
You got Alan Moore with the Killing Joke. You got Frank Miller.
Killing Joke was great.
It's definitely one of my favorite books of all time.
We got Frank Miller's Year One. Yeah,
so gritty and stuff. Then you got, of course, Bob Kane's more the Tim Burton style that the Batman Tim Burton really took from.
What's that comic? Halloween.
The Long Halloween.
Yeah, Long Halloween, which I think was probably the biggest influence on the Batman 2022.
Yeah, and the Dark Knight. Long Halloween is really much there in those stories. So that's Batman as a whole. I think that would That's Batman.
Yeah, if you didn't know who Batman was, now you do.
Yeah, because I know you did.
Anyway, let's get into Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves, the Batman 2022. What a experience.
Experience, indeed. I had the chance to see it twice. Hell, I don't know if it'll be the last time I see it in theaters. I'm like, it's such a great... Let's talk about the theater experience. It's such a fun film to watch in theater.
It is.
It's so
especially
cool
when you just... If you have like a good theater crowd with you...
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, when we watched it, the crowd was kind of underwhelming.
Yeah.
There's a lot of old guys. But if you got like a cool crowd and like you're with your friends, it's a great movie to watch.
It really is.
I mean, rate the rewatchability on this film.
A 10, I'd say. I'm not rating the movie a 10. I'm rating it as a rewatchability as a 10. Again, it's a 3-hour movie. When I watched it again, I was so in it. You know, I was
like,
so
it's a 3-hour-long film, but it really doesn't feel like that.
Because like Zodiac, 7, you know, it's if you like Fincher films, if you like those detective noir films, those mystery films, those thrillers, that's what we should go in expecting more so than a comic book movie.
Yeah.
Not to say there's not those elements there. It's a Batman movie, yeah, but it's very much as if Matt Reeves, you know, watched a lot of Fincher films beforehand, read the more detective style of Batman, because that's what you see really is the detective Batman more so than the superhero Batman.
But yeah, this is definitely like it's not like any other Batman film that we've seen in the past. Like, it's definitely something different.
That's where so like, you know, when I said I saw the Batman, a lot of people's first thing was like, oh, is that as good as the Dark Knight? Is it better than the Dark Knight? No one really asked the question is how good is it of a Batman movie.
Yeah.
People ask the question, is it better than the Dark Knight? Is it good? No, but it's different, and I think that's what matters
like,
more so.
I don't really think it's fair to compare it to the Dark Knight trilogy because it's not really the same ballpark of film. I mean, first and foremost, we're seeing a different kind of Batman than we've seen in most films. And then second of all, it's just from like a storytelling and directorial standpoint, it's like 2 different films. It's like a different like take on Batman. And
you know, if we're on the whole thing about the Dark Knight, I guess to make it fair, we should do Dark Knight trilogy more than so the Dark Knight. Because yes, if we put something against the Dark Knight, it's gonna lose. Put something against the trilogy, it may have a chance. Weird thing to say, but that's how it is. But if you go in expecting just this cool mystery thriller film, detective-like style of Batman, you're gonna come out having a great time.
It's a good time.
It's a good time. 2017.
Fun fact.
No one cares. I know what you're gonna say. It doesn't matter.
Did you know that in the Batman, that thug in the beginning of the movie, he's wearing Robert Pattinson's outfit from Good Time? Boom, I bet your mind is blown. Did you know that?
I don't think half of the people here know Good Time. Unless we got the cool audience.
We should have a cool audience.
We got the cool audience. Speaking about the cool audience, we're gonna get a
watched
pal.
Good Time. Have you watched Good Time?
Get Reef up.
Anyway, so the film is just beautiful. First and foremost.
I like that's your first word you used.
It's
beautiful.
It's a beautiful film.
Ain't hiding nothing.
So let's talk about production quality, because I think production quality. This is not you guys. Anyway,
production quality fucking sucks. I'm just kidding. We appreciate you guys more than anything. We appreciate you more than anything. FilmBrew would not be living without you guys.
Anyways, production quality of this film is immaculate.
It's so great.
It is just like these crazy lighting schemes and like waters everywhere and like fucking camera work and like let's talk about Gotham, right? Like, what film has portrayed Gotham this way?
Yeah, like, this is Gotham.
Yeah, like this is the fucking
Gotham
shithole sludge fucking.
You see a little bit of it in Tim Burton's, but then again, it's more like, well, that's just a Tim Burton movie. That's just one of his.
And it's more of like whimsical and like fantasy story. Like this looks like a futuristic, like kind of cyberpunk-esque like rundown.
It's like if someone took the set of Blade Runner 2049 and threw sewage water over it. And that's what it would be.
It's like if you went to New York City.
Jason Takes Manhattan. You know that movie? That's what Gotham looks like.
I did take Manhattan.
Jason Takes Manhattan. Oh yeah, Jason here had a whole honky tonk down in Manhattan. That's a whole different story though. We'll talk about that later.
Manhattan.
The way this place looks, the way Gotham
What if
looks
I took my
overall
shirt off here?
is so great. The way, if Jason took his shirt off right now, that'd be like, okay, so Gotham does really look bad. There's a whole monologue at the beginning of the film, and it's so well done.
It's just, it feels like you're watching a comic book at the beginning, because it's just like these scenes right after scene of just like, and there's like the narrator's voice, which is Batman. Like that's how you know this is like a Batman movie.
Yeah.
This is like a very Batman movie because of like the narration, which we've never gotten in another Batman movie. It feels like you're watching a moving comic book. Like
That's kind of true though. Like a lot of the shit that goes down is like, it's like straight from a Frank Miller story. You know, it's so cool because I've always, since I was a kid, you know, since I was like, you know, watching The Dark Knight Rises, since I was watching Batman vs Superman, you know, a lot of the stuff in there, I always go home and I was like, oh, well, there's no Frank Miller, you know. I was like, oh, yeah. This is cool. This one little part is like that Frank Miller story. But now, like, this Batman's like, it's very much a Frank Miller story.
It's a comic book. It's literally, the movie is a comic book. I think if this film is going to take inspiration from two comic book writers, it's going to be Frank Miller and Scott Snyder, right? Like 100%. This is just such a comic book movie.
There's our opinions on the Batman. It's really good. Go watch it. There's so many beautiful shots. They're directing this film. It's really cool, you know, because like it's not like your standard blockbuster where a lot of the shots feel repetitive. You know, although I don't agree with some shots in the Batman, what I can say is that it was very, you know, inventive with its shots. It didn't stick to one type of standard of directing. Matt Reeves really just went for anything. Like what I feel like again, I don't like every shot in this film, but I could say, like, watching it, I feel like if he had an idea for a shot, he went for it.
No, yeah.
And that's what I care about more. That's what I appreciate about it. You know, whether or not I agree with it, I'm like, I would rather this than, you know, just doing the standard shots over and over again.
And that is very much why this film is a innovation in comic book cinema. Like 100%. It's just something different. It's, you know, breath of fresh air.
Definitely.
It's so great.
Speaking about breath of fresh air, let's talk about the performances.
Robert Pattinson, of course. Robert Pattinson, dude. We'll talk about him last though, since there's so much to talk about him.
Yeah. The whole podcast on him. I keep spilling coffee everywhere. I don't know why. From doing the French press, from pouring it into my cup to pouring it into my mouth. It's spilling everywhere. I can't do this.
I'm thinking too much about Robert Pattinson. Anyway, so Robert Pattinson as the Batman.
If you're watching.
Of course, just, oh my god. We got Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle.
Probably, like, you know, steals the show in every scene she's in. She was excellently casted.
Then we have Paul motherfucking Dano.
One of the greatest actors of all time. Shout out to my father, who hates him for some reason.
Why did your dad?
Paul Dano's one of the greatest actors of all time. I'm working right now.
Paul Dano
hates him.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell is I think, the biggest surprise here. Because, like, watching the trailers and everything, I was like, oh, that's a little weird. You know? He played the Penguin.
Beautifully.
That was the Penguin.
Like, that was...
Like, I know him from all those Yorgos Lanthimos films. Forgive me if I pronounce his name wrong. But I know him from his films, and in those films, he's really monotone, just very bleak and whatnot. I'm like, how's he gonna play the fucking Penguin?
But then the Penguin...
He plays the Penguin.
Penguin was, like... Almost like
how you doing?
How you doing? Like an Al Pacino like performance, you know? Like
he just let it loose.
He did.
He let it loose.
Jeffrey Wright, James Gordon, another great performance.
Really well. Like the scenes between him and Batman really stood up quite well.
Yeah.
And we saw him in French Dispatch earlier this year.
And then John Turturro as Carmine Falcone.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun seeing him.
If you don't know who that is. And maybe you've probably seen The Big Lebowski. That's Jesus.
That's Jesus.
The bowling pedophile.
Yeah.
There you go. That's Carmine Falcone. I mean, he had a great performance, undoubtedly.
Yeah, it was like, damn.
Like,
that's
I mean, he went from shining bowling balls to being this, you know, mobster villain, this gangster.
And it's interesting. We can't spoil anything, but in the Hush comics, Falcone was Hush. So that was interesting.
We saw. Oh, we can't spoil that one.
Yeah. I'm just
If you
saying
like
the fact that
Hush-
Falcone is Hush.
If you like Hush.
So, and that's another thing to get into the villains. What I'm looking forward to, because Pattinson is signed to a 3-film deal.
Yeah.
What I'm excited about more so than anything is how villains are gonna work in this style of filmmaking.
Yeah, because we've
It's
already
gonna be so
seen the
cool.
Riddler. And, you know, the Riddler is just a totally unique and revolutionized portrayal of this character. You know, because in other movies and comic books, he's kind of like a silly guy. You know, he's like a he's not what we see in the Batman.
Yeah.
This movie, he's just a deranged, psychopathic
dude.
Like, it's scary. It really is.
And it's
scary.
very obvious, you know. I think it was my sister who brought this up, but it is very on the nose with its commentary it's making. And so it's obvious Paul Dano is supposed to be playing this like political riler of some sorts that, you know, gets this group of elitists basically who feel they need to take vengeance against the whole thing. And that's the turn this film really takes, is about Batman being the icon or the image he is, and then you got the Riddler over here who's taking his image and kind of using it for his own gain in sort of like in like a political uprising in like the worst of ways. Again, it's very on the nose with it. It's obvious what the message here is saying, you know, about, because like, you know, that happens in real life sometimes. You know, these elitist groups of people. I'm not going to specify, you know, specify which one. There's a group out there who feel a little bit more above, and want to take vengeance.
Crazy. I mean, Riddler is just great in this movie, like completely. In the film, his name is Edward Nashton, which is interesting because, I mean, we most popularly know Riddler as Edward Nigma. It's kind of like a play on words to Enigma, you know, Riddler, crazy. And, you know, that name kind of has like a more comical connotation to it, right? Whereas Edward Nashton is kind of like a more serious and like I drew lots
serious
of like
place.
lines towards the Zodiac Killer. I feel like he was like
again Zodiac
based
Fincher,
on
man.
the Zodiac Killer, and
Zodiac's not real. He's just a character in David Fincher's Zodiac.
No, he's real.
No,
he's real.
No, he's not.
No, he's real. He's gonna come kill you. I'm the Zodiac Killer.
He's real. Okay, I just want to make sure. But he's dead. He's gone.
No, he's still alive.
Or he could be alive. That's totally possible.
Still alive. Don't listen to him. He's the Zodiac
He
Killer.
could be
He's
dead too.
Because
Because there's that story about that dude who died right before the trial. That could have been him.
He could have literally just
Mr.
staged
Detective
like a
over here.
murder. No, you see, this is why I'm the Zodiac. I mean, I'm vengeance.
But isn't it just a little weird that he had a heart attack right before his trial came up?
Okay, but that could have been like an accomplice or something, and he's like, oh, he's gonna sing like a bird. Bah! Dead.
So now you're saying the Zodiac Killer is more than one person.
Maybe. Wouldn't that just throw a wrench in the
That's
whole...
cool. In the film Zodiac, they actually got a different person to play the Zodiac Killer. Anytime they had him on screen, they would have a different person in the costume
Then
to hide the illusion of who is the Zodiac Killer. Fun fact, this is a Fincher podcast now.
By Zoe Kravitz. Another great performance.
Embody the role. Incredible performance.
In the Dark Knight Rises, Zoe Kravitz auditioned for a role
They
playing
said
as
that she was
Catwoman.
too urban.
She was too urban.
We know that Nolan knows.
You're lost.
We know, yeah, you fucked up there. I know it was Nolan. It might have not been Nolan. I'm a fan of Nolan, but it wouldn't surprise me because we know Nolan just now casted a black lead in his last film.
I don't know, like, you never know. I mean, there's a lot.
But it could always be the casting.
There's a lot of steps through casting. There's a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of people probably goes through, you know.
And if it was probably like because she said it was just like a small little role, so it probably was a casting agent who would say
Probably.
that. Either way, Zoe Kravitz, incredible job in this film. One of my favorite parts of the entire film.
Worked greatly with Pattinson. Like the chemistry between those characters is just insane. Like I don't think it could have been done any better.
The film is very sexual. Let's just say it.
It is pretty
On
sexual.
a rewatch, at least, I was watching it like That's what I'm saying. It's a very Frank Miller-like story. Because I was watching it, it's like there's a lot of sexual elements in Frank Miller's work. And we're watching this movie, I'm like, this is highly sensual in a way, you know?
Sensual. Thank you, production assistant Hannah.
That's what I said. Sensual.
No, you said central.
Sensual.
Like Central Phoenix.
Sensual.
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 Silencio? Mulholland Drive is a good example.
Anyway.
Mulholland Drive is a good example because it's very... Say it. What's the word?
What?
Silencio.
Sensual.
Sensual.
It's getting hot in here.
Like the Batman. Speaking of...
Robert Pattinson. Alright? Robert Pattinson, besides being a very attractive man. Who would have known? I don't know.
Anyways, Robert Pattinson, the Batman. Great Batman. He's an incredible Batman. He was a great Batman. Great performance. You know, he was really cool in that detective, like, you know, state of being, you know, and he's probably my favorite Batman performance yet.
Pattinson. I want to talk about all the shit Pattinson got for...
Yeah, he got so much shit on it. You know, and still to today, you know, my family and everyone's like, oh, Edward guy, the Twilight guy. He, like, people were like, oh, the Batman's finally going to bring him out. No, man, he's got out of it.
Like, that film came out 10 years ago. Like, 10...
I think Good Time was the film that brought him out.
Yeah.
It was Good Time. It's not the Batman. Maybe in the mainstream.
He hated Twilight.
He absolutely did.
So you can genuinely tell with his acting.
And then he was also in Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, and Harry Potter.
But I mean, like, these were like, you know, amateur career, not amateur, but like, you know, the beginning of his career is like.
Yeah. You even saw with the Kristen Stewart, who might win an Oscar this year. You know, she got away from Twilight.
You know what I think it is?
Not that Jacob
it's
did,
because Pattinson is like a more, I don't know how to say this, but like he's not as a masculine guy as a lot of other actors. You know,
he's very comfortable in his own skin,
and like, you know, he's obviously very confident,
and that's why he could take on roles like Good Time, which is a risky. Like, imagine that, like, trying to get out of this scoop of being known as this like a heartthrob pale ass vampire in your first role being this manipulative asshole who makes out with a 13-year-old.
Hey, spoiler alert.
He does it though.
Good Time. Watch Good Time. It's a great film. And you also have The Lighthouse, which is just phenomenal.
Which is probably my favorite performance from me yet so far.
100%.
Great performance. And then he was in Nolan's film Tenet, which is cool that he was in Nolan's film before the Batman. Even though I think he was cast in Batman before Tenet, but he was good in Tenet.
He skipped shooting days, or not? He skipped like days working on Tenet to go audition for Batman. But he didn't tell Nolan that. Like, he told him he was like sick or something. Yeah. And so he was like auditioning for Batman, but then Nolan found out because, like, obviously.
Yeah. Nolan knows everything.
Nolan knows everything.
It was weird. I was watching that interview where Robert Pattinson said on the first day when he got casted as Batman, before he told anyone, Nolan was like, "Good job," or like Nolan just knew. He knows everything about the Batman, which is that's kind of cool that, you know, like, because I remember when Batman vs Superman came out, they talked to Nolan before they made it. Yeah. Nolan doesn't own Batman, but I think it's so cool that, you know, these filmmakers and stuff will talk to him about it before, you know, going ahead and making a Batman movie. Yeah. Because he did kind of like... It's like that whole thing with a lot of the people who were auditioned for the Joker, or who they called up for the Joker, didn't want to take it because they felt scared. They're like, oh, well, that's, you know, we got to live up to Jack Nicholson. Yeah. You know?
And then it took another step further.
And now it's like, you can't live up to Heath Ledger.
You can't, I don't think...
Nolan kind of just took over Batman.
Like, this might be a hot take, but I don't think there's a single human on this earth, or can be created on this earth, that can up Heath Ledger's performance.
Heath Ledger's performance was absolutely...
Except for, of course, Hannah Rouse.
Want to hear my Joker laugh?
Do your Joker laugh.
Pattinson was great. Yeah,
Pattinson was great.
He was. I don't care.
We gotta edit that whole thing out of what happened to us when we were talking about Pattinson.
No, I'm putting that in. We're sweating. Like, I was actually sweating. Like, I don't care what you think about Robert Pattinson. You can call him a pretty boy, all this stuff. He was fucking badass in Batman. Like, he was... Whew.
Great in Batman. We have Pattinson here
On
to
the
talk to us
phone.
about the Batman. Bring him
So,
over.
production assistant Rents, why don't you call up Robert Pattinson himself?
Yeah, we got Robert Pattinson here on the podcast. We're gonna
No
ask his
way.
thoughts.
Robert
No,
Pattinson.
It's good, Robert Pattinson. All we need from you, Pattinson, today is we just want to get your thoughts on the Batman. How was it like filming? You know, what'd you think about the final product? You know, how did everything go for you?
Okay, well, I loved it. It lived up to my standards. You know, I didn't come in with the thought that this was going to be the greatest Batman movie ever, but I did come in with expectations that this better be a damn good movie, and it was.
Damn good
I think
movie.
there's two sides to this movie. There's the production and the story.
Oh, of
The
course.
story is pretty good. I do have my problems with the story, but the production, I love everything about the production. Obviously, the last 75% of it was filmed in the pandemic, but they still managed to make it look like an actual film, like there's no virus going on. For the best looking Batman movie, it's gonna be that one. And the
That's probably
cinematographer, I don't know if you know his name, but Greg Fraser. That
Fraser.
guy, he's really good.
Fraser.
All right.
Incredible comments.
Incredible.
You added layers of depth to this whole podcast. Thank you so much for being on here, Pattinson.
Thank you so much, Pattinson.
Oh, you're welcome. Robert Pattinson, is this over?
Yeah.
all right, yeah, Robert Pattinson signing off.
Goodbye, Robert Pattinson.
Goodbye,
Thank
Rob.
See ya.
Well,
you. Great man. It's so cool that he talked about his own film as if he was
Yeah.
a fan, you know?
yeah. I mean, that just shows how kind of confident and kind of how humble Pattinson is as an actor and as a talent, you know? I need more coffee, dude. Letterboxd. So if you don't know what Letterboxd is, it's kind of this website where you can log, review, and you know, make comments
On films.
yeah. And
It's the only media I have. However, we have two great production assistants who we should probably save this for another episode, but we'll just say now to look out for it. We have two production assistants now. Yes, FilmBrew is growing. Slow. I think faster than a lot of other things are, you know. We already have two production people. Thank you again. They're gonna be creating some media for us, you know, a lot of social media accounts, a lot of, you know, different things, because we're very pretentious and very insecure of ourselves. So we stay away from social media. That's just how we are. However, we got these two
Sorry,
people who will
Jeff
promote us.
Bezos.
Yeah. So they will make accounts for us. They'll do a lot of promotions for us. So hopefully our
you see
brand
this
is
on
out there.
TikTok.
Maybe even TikTok, you know, anything. They'll handle that.
Did you know
Just so look
that
out for
in
that.
episode 3 of FilmBrew Production, we came up with this grand idea, right? It's called Letterboxd Shitbox, right? So basically, we go into a film and then we hit sort from lowest reviews, so the people who give it like half a star, right? And then you just pick the funniest comment, and it's our job to guess out of all the live action Batman
Yeah, we're
films
doing that
what
one.
comment goes to what film. And so lovely Rents is gonna read some of them to us. So Rents is gonna read my picks to Brody and Brody's picks to
So
me.
do Jason's first, and I have to guess which Batman film this is.
I'd rather put my dick in a meat grinder than watch this again.
How many guesses do I get?
You get 3 guesses.
3 guesses.
Yes, sir, your guesses right here. Nice big juicy guesses.
I'm trying to think about it. Who would be that vulgar about something? The Dark Knight.
That's wrong. So wrong.
Batman and Robin.
Nope.
Ooh.
Ooh. Everyone
Batman
do it.
vs Superman.
What
was
the
it?
movie was actually Batman Begins.
Hey.
Hey,
Tomato.
All right, go to the next one.
give that man a meat
That's
grinder.
a little too vulgar. Batman was alright.
Will Smith would have been a better Batman by far.
Batman 2020.
Nope.
Batman and Robin.
Nope.
Dark Knight.
Nope.
What?
The Batman.
The Batman.
I said Batman 2022. Batman 2020. Anyways, go to the last one. Go to the last one.
I'd fuck Bane or get fucked by Tomato.
Dark Knight Rises.
That one was kind of obvious, but
Dark
I
Knight
thought it was
Rises.
kind of funny.
Tomato.
Tomato.
It's my turn now.
Her name may be Catwoman, but I was barking.
I wonder which one that one is.
It could be 2 movies.
Yeah.
But
3 movies, actually.
It's the Batman, though.
I'm sorry, what did you
Well, because Catwoman is in... Okay.
It's actually Batman Returns.
It is.
Is Batman Returns?
Yes.
No.
No, it's a Batman. You got it right. You got it right.
Alright, hey, first try. Ooh.
Don't.
Alright, next question.
A lot of homoerotic tension in this.
Batman and Robin. Oh. Batman versus Superman. The Batman. What? Look at
The
that.
Dark Knight.
Just the Dark Knight?
The Dark Knight.
Not even Dark Knight
No,
Rises?
the Dark Knight.
That doesn't even make sense.
Hey, yo, Batman and Joker had it going on.
I feel like the one with the most homoerotic tension would be... I mean, besides the Bat... I mean,
Besides the Batman.
probably like... I could see Dark Knight Rises. Because, you know, Bane's literally like breaking Batman's back.
Yeah, literally.
All right,
Moving on.
Next one.
I want to rewatch The Dark Knight.
That's a review.
You want to rewatch The Dark Knight?
That's the review. Oh, I want to rewatch it.
Okay, I'm thinking this could be a review on like a completely irrelevant movie. Is this Dark Knight Rises? The Batman. Dark Knight.
No, that's it.
What is it on?
Tim Burton's Batman.
Batman 1989.
Why? Okay.
I don't blame him.
Did I get none of those right? I got one right.
Yeah, one of them right.
Yeah.
I got one right too. There's one else.
That's a tie.
Well, that was Letterbox Shitbox, everyone.
Oh, I love that. That was fun.
Anyway, that was a little bit of criticism. How do you want to wrap this up?
Let's do a quick ranking of the top 5 Batman movies.
Top 5 Batman
Top 5
live-action
live-action
movies. Thank you for tuning in to Watch Mojo. This is our top 5 picks for Batman.
I'll let you go.
Okay, let's
From
go
bottom
one
up.
by one. Like,
All right, we'll start.
what's
from
your number
5?
5 spot?
All right, my number 5 seed. Oh, I got mixed up with actual. Ew, this isn't that good.
What's
Looking
your
at
number
it,
5?
I have Tim Burton's Batman. Actually, no, I had Batman vs Superman. Sorry, Tim Burton. I had Batman vs Superman above you.
I have
Batman vs.
Tim Burton's Batman.
Tim Burton's Batman.
Yeah.
Interesting. What's
Number 4. Number 4, I have Batman Begins.
Batman Begins. I have Batman Begins number 4. Number 3, I have Dark Knight Rises.
I have Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight
Number 3 as
Rises.
well. I think the rest is gonna
Number
be the
2,
same.
I have the Batman.
I have the Batman on number 2
and
as
number
well.
1, we got Dark Knight.
I guess we're pretty similar, huh?
Pretty similar.
So much for being a romantic. Because Dark Knight Rises is obviously the superior film.
Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is
Keep that
obviously
in.
the Dark Knight is obviously the superior film. While the Batman is Batman, the Batman in the Batman is better than the Batman in the Dark Knight.
But as a film overall.
But as a film overall, the Dark Knight is just cooler.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt Reef.
This was really fun.
This was really fun.
It was really fun. It's nice doing this again after a while of not doing this. Sorry to everyone, our loyal FilmBrew fans.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are like cool.
Thank you
and
so
everything.
much. You know, again, we have our wonderful production of people who will promote us out there, who get us up there.
Make this fun.
So if you're social media oriented, we'll have them help, maybe create some type of community out there.
Hey, pop a bottle of champagne to them.
Yeah, if you have like any media out there, share us, share us with your parents, your family. Again, we're really trying to grow, and the fact that we have a audience of any kind that enjoys film just as much as us, that means a lot. And again, we're gonna try to be more consistent. I know we said that like 2 episodes ago.
Because movies
We're
are
gonna
just a
try to be
beautiful
more
thing,
consistent.
dude. Like movies are
Extremely
so
beautiful.
cool. Like what
Art
is there
form
not
never
to
die.
like about movies? Like
Movies are a
just
beautiful
cool,
art form.
And
we'll
so
keep
is
that
coffee.
alive.
Coffee is such a beautiful thing in our
Coffee
lives.
and films are heavenly. And FilmBrew itself, the channel, will have a lot more content coming out soon.
I love the comments on the recent videos.
We love comments. We love the comments.
Comments are so
We do
cool,
love the
guys.
comments.
I love you,
So, shout out to Tony Rouse.
Tony
Yeah.
Rouse.
That's
Thank
my
you.
mother.
Shout out to Hannah
Shout out to Melanie,
right here.
Georgie.
Rents.
Hey, yo, Rens ain't never comment on those.
Hey, Rents is always
He's never commenting.
Give us your seats. Yeah. We're filming now.
That's about all who comments.
The end, we'll do a little skit where you guys are here.
Anyways, thank you guys for your comments, for your likes, for your shares. Thank you for everything. We appreciate it. Be more consistent. This has been FilmBrew.
This has been the FilmBrew
Episode 8?
Podcast.
This has been the FilmBrew Podcast. Podcast.
We like to talk about films for your consumption. Come take a seat, I'll tell you something.
If you like movies, we're the thing for you. You're watching FilmBrew Podcast.
We're the production assistants.
We talk about
we about selection, and that's all we do. And you're watching FilmBrew. Production assistants.